I read an article, an editorial in Slate.com entitled, "Here's Why Tipping Should Be Banned." It is an editorial that suggests that restaurants should no longer be allowed to accept tips. And the reason, they say, listen to this, tipping does not incentivize hard work. The factors that correlate most strongly to tip size have virtually nothing to do with the quality of service. But here's the best part. Tipping creates a racially charged feedback loop based around the widely held assumption explored in an episode of Louie in the Oscar-winning film Crash and elsewhere, that African Americans tend to be subpar tippers. There seems to be some truth to this stereotype. African Americans on average tip less than white customers. And so it goes on to say, this creates an excuse for restaurant servers to prioritize the needs of certain ethnic groups over others. The whole editorial makes the point that we should disallow tipping because since we all know that black people on average tip less than white people, that means that waiters don't want to wait on black people. They'd rather wait on white people. Having been a waiter myself in an area that was predominantly black, I will tell you that if I had one white table or three black tables, I'd probably get more in tips from the one white table than the three black. Now, I know these are the kinds of things I say that upset people. But we had a fella call in. I wish he'd call in again. He was working on a book, and if he ever finishes it, I'll help him promote it. And the whole book was about why black people don't tip, how they don't tip, and his experiences in over 20 years as a waiter. And he happens to be black. Now, you can criticize black people if you are black. That's one of the rules in America. You just can't criticize black people if you're not black, because then you're a bad person. But if a black person does it, everything is good, which is why white people like to get them a black person to criticize black people because it makes them feel better. But, you know, this is representative of a bigger issue. If we don't like something that's bad in society, we don't attempt to fix what is wrong. We create a workaround whereby the fact that someone does something wrong is no longer wrong. We don't give them the opportunity to do that. Or the fact that someone does something right, we don't give them the opportunity to do that. If black people aren't tipping as much as white people, and therefore waiters, even black ones, don't want to wait on black people, instead of suggesting, hey, guys, why don't you tip a little more and not be so chintzy? Instead, the suggestion is, let's don't allow tipping. And you know what else we should do? Let's don't allow going to school because some people try harder. And that's the equivalent of, let's don't keep score. Because some people are good at sports and some people aren't. And those that are good just keep winning. And those that aren't, the Bad News Bears will always lose. In fact, let's don't have any way to measure merit in society. That way, those who try hard, work hard, and win won't be able to win anymore because there'll be no concept of winning. I will tell you, it goes on to say that it's not fair that the hostess doesn't make as much as the waiter. But actually it does. I could talk about eating out all day, every day, because it's one of my favorite things in the world to do. We eat out all the time. My wife will tell you, I'd eat out every meal if I could. I love eating out. I love restaurants. I love the different concepts, from the low-grade counter service to the high-end white glove. I love everything in between, depending on the mood. But is there anything more awesome than the idea, and it doesn't always work, but is there anything more awesome than the idea that the person with whom you are working, after you've been at the DMV all day, after you've dealt with government bureaucrats, after you've dealt with lazy people who just don't care in their government job or their big corporation job, isn't it an awesome concept that at least for most people who are waiters, they are acutely aware that their service to you as a customer can result in more money for them, and I've never met an employee that didn't want to make more money. And besides, waiting tables and bartending is the best job in America if you have no particular education or credentials. I mean, you can actually make good money doing it.
What a man. What a man.
The Michael Berry Show.
Someone you can trust.